Many people do not realize the dangers associated with gossip. For some people, it's a normal thing and just a way to pass time. For some other people, it's a means of pulling down their enemy, a means of destroying the image and reputation of someone they do not like, often without cause. Gossip can be very dangerous. It dates back to the Garden of Eden, Genesis 3, where we see the devil in form of a serpent, disguising as a companion and friend of Eve, and luring her into eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which God had earlier commanded man not to eat from. Here we see the devil saying, "Did God really say you should not eat of that tree? Surely God knows that the day you eat of it, you will become like God, knowing the difference between good and evil." So the devil used gossip to try to demean the image of God before mankind. He used gossip to make man see God as his enemy and see the devil as his friend and helper. He used gossip to make man disobey God. So what happened after that? Eve ate the fruit, gave it to Adam, who also ate, and they both fell into enmity with God, an enmity that lasted for thousands of years until Jesus Christ came to die on the cross of Calvary to redeem man from sin and enmity with God. Unfortunately, even till today, some people still allow the devil to disguise as a companion and friend, to disguise as a close person, and lure them into destroying the image and reputation of innocent people through gossip and slander. Lure them into destroying the image of God through gossip and slander, thereby stripping them of the salvation which Jesus Christ worked for them on the cross of Calvary, making them disobey God and falling back into enmity with God. So the devil uses gossip as a major strategy to win the heart of man against God, to make man disobey God and fall back into sin. He uses gossip to betray man's confidence in God and anything that represents virtue. This he achieves from those who care to listen to him and be his companion and friend. As Satan betrayed man's confidence in God through gossip, so did Absalom betray the confidence of the Israelites in King David through gossip. Absalom was the third son of King David who used gossip to destroy the image and reputation of his father before the Israelites. The Bible tells us in 2 Samuel 15 that he rose up early to go to stand by the way of the city gate. And whenever he saw people coming into the city with a complaint to the king, he would tell them that they had a good case, but that his father, King David, had not deputed anyone to handle the case for them, had not assigned anyone to do justice for them, and that if he were made judge, he would do justice to all of them. and handled their cases very well. And when they came to pay him obeisance, he would hug them and kiss their hands. And by so doing, he stole the hearts of the Israelites from his father, King David. So Absalom used gossip to make the Israelites see King David as an incompetent king, and make them see Absalom as the one who would rule them better, who would treat them better. Obviously, he did that because he was under the influence of Satan. He did that to destroy the image of the king and elevate his own image. So he won the hearts of the Israelites. He won their support, and many of them sided with him against King David when war eventually broke out between both of them. Galatians 6 verse 7 to 8. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that he shall reap. Whosoever sows to please the flesh will reap destruction. Whosoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Absalom sowed to please his flesh, and he reaped destruction. He tried to overthrow King David so he could become king, and he died in his folly. Gossip and slander never pays. Haman's downfall began when he listened to gossip against Mordecai from two royal officials at the gate. The officials came to tell him that Mordecai did not kneel down or pay him any of the honor which the king had commanded. The book of Esther chapter 3 tells us that Haman was an Amalekite who was greatly honored by King Ahasuerus. The king gave him a seat higher than that of all the other nobles, and all the royal officials at the gate knelt down and paid honor to him, which was also part of the king's commandment concerning him. Haman, being an Amalekite, had a generational hatred for the Jews, and when he heard that Mordecai was not paying him any of the honor that the king had commanded, he decided to destroy all the Jews in the land. His pathological hatred for the Jews drove him to make that decision, without realizing that the wife of King Ahasuerus, Queen Esther, was a Jew. So how could he destroy all the Jews in the land when the wife of the king, who gave him so much honor, was a Jew? That marked doom for his evil plots against the Jews in the land. So for listening to a gossip or report against Mordecai, he made a decision to destroy all the Jews in the land. A decision which altered his honorable position and eventually led to his death, and the vindication of Mordecai and all the Jews in the land. He ended up in the gallows, which he built for the execution of Mordecai. If he had paid no attention to the royal officials at the gate who came to gossip or report Mordecai to him, he would have been saved from all that calamity. The royal officials knew of his hatred for the Jews, and they told him about Mordecai to incite trouble. He fell for it and suffered irredeemable consequences. Mordecai was a Jew and the uncle of Queen Esther, so Haman's plot was bound to fail. Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus with gossip. Matthew 26 tells us that he conspired with the Pharisees against Jesus Christ. His conspiration, which boils down to gossip, led to the capture and death of Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary. So with his conspiration, he thought he was killing the Messiah, but he ended up killing himself, because the Messiah reigns supreme everlastingly. His conspiracy only led him into trouble. He wanted to be superior over Jesus, but he only proved his inferiority. So he died in his folly. He destroyed his privilege of being a close associate of the Messiah, and also destroyed his destiny in the process. That is how dangerous gossip and slander can be. That is how dangerous conspiracy can be. When you destroy the image and reputation of an innocent person through gossip, slander, and conspiracy, you are destroying your own image with God. You are destroying the place you have with Him and setting your soul up for eternal destruction. By going to conspire with the Pharisees against Jesus, Judas was giving a false report against Jesus. He was making the Pharisees to believe that Jesus was not the Messiah he claimed to be, and so he could be put to death. That he could arrange for his arrest if they would pay him some money. By making them feel they could arrest the Messiah and put him to death, he was sending out a message that Jesus wasn't the Messiah he claimed to be. Because if he believed Jesus was the Messiah, he would know that it was impossible for him to die, and that even in death, he was still the Messiah. So going to ask them for money to deliver Jesus unto them meant going to tell them that you people are right, thinking that Jesus is not the Messiah. You people are right to believe that he should be put to death. So that was a false message he was sending out. That was a false report he was sending out, whether he spoke out those words or not. Exodus 23 verse 1. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thy hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Leviticus 19 verse 16. You shall not go about as a slanderer among your people, and you are not to act against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. James 1 verse 26. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. Don't let the storm of sin deprive you of salvation. Don't let anything stop you from entering God's kingdom. Accept Jesus Christ now and be saved from eternal destruction.